Good evening, morning, afternoon, everybody. Richard Bonell and myself, Michelle King, we're holding another webinar just on some updates we've found from the company and just little information we've collected in different areas. So the purpose of this meeting is to just try and keep you all up to date and just to share the information that we've found. So just a bit of housekeeping. Richard and I are not financially qualified advisors or professional accountants. This webinar is completely a partner-run webinar. It is not an official webinar for the company. The information we give you is just an overview and it's our opinion, and we recommend to everybody to seek professional advice for any form of financial investing. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Dennis, who is actually on the webinar, and he's from the IT department. And I asked him for a graph on the amount of people that have joined Unitex, and he was very accommodating and gave me this graph to share with you tonight. And I'd like to show you some of the numbers that what we got going on Unitex. So when we started in March, we had 35.2 thousand people register, and then 12.9 was verified. So this light blue line are the people that are verifying, and this darker blue line is the amount of people that are joining each month. Now, on a quick look, you might go, oh, this is really bad and it's negative, but it's actually something that is positive for us as members, because this is showing us that there's quite a lot of people who haven't actually verified yet. And there'd be a lot of these people that are in our teams or people that we might know in social media or in our Telegram groups. And I think what I'd like to do to discuss today is let's talk about how we can help these people verify and get their passports up there and, you know, start getting these numbers, because we've actually got quite a lot of people. This is the target line the company hopes for new users every month. We're clearly not meeting it. And in my last webinar, I spoke to you all about using your referral link on Unitex and bringing in new members, but we now know that there's this is probably not going to be a good idea, because there's a lot of members that are now seeking verification, and support's quite busy trying to get them over the line. So I think we need to actually focus on those members and get them in and help clear the backlog and help the company create more users on Unitex. So I added up the numbers. In total, there's 24,646. There'll probably be a bit more now because this is probably a couple of days old. And the total users that have registered is 66,245 members. That's quite a lot of members that we've got potentially on our Unitex exchange. And go us with all the volume that we're creating. Richard's going to talk about that volume in his segment, but I think we're actually doing really quite well. So knowing those numbers, the idea is we all step up, we help people around us get verified. Sometimes it could be them holding their passports incorrectly to the camera, or even in different countries, they may feel concerned about getting passports. And I've seen people in chat saying, I don't have a passport, I can't verify, but it's up to us to start encouraging people to get the required ID they need so they can get over to that next step and start trading and participating properly on Unitex. And while they can still trade on Unitex, they can't withdraw monies, and they've got a lot of restrictions. So it's really important that we get these people verified. There's a lot of regulations with the Estonia crypto regulations, and I did a bit of Googling today, this afternoon, and I found out that they actually revoke more than, they cancelled 1,000 exchange licenses in 2020. So you probably hear about people being a little bit, they're saying that, you know, there's blocks and there's checks, and this is a really good reason why our company is being so careful. And go Evo Rich for being careful, because the last thing we want to do is to lose our license on the Estonian exchange. So the big one is money laundering, that a lot of these exchanges were shut down. So I've heard people say that they've been blocked because of they've been trying to withdraw more or stuff like that. And for those of you that are watching now that have had blocks put on your account, now you'll see why that has happened. It's not because you've been singled out. It's just purely because there's a lot of regulations the company has to go through, and being a new company on the exchange at this point, they are going to have to put all their checks and make sure all the ticks are in line, so we don't get shut down. I also found this link here, and it was quite interesting to look at the costs of setting up an exchange. So if anybody wants to screenshot this link and go and have a look, it's quite interesting website. I thought, oh, that's all amazing that it's all online. Richard's going to go into this part in more detail, but in October, the company will stop selling CRU and WCRU, and people will have to start purchasing CRU on our exchange and paying the charge to convert it into WCRU. And that's going to be where the price of our CRU will start rising to $1 or more. Now, if you're one of those people that are selling it for 1 and 2 cents, or people that are doing it, now's the time to start preparing to sell your CRU at $1 at the minimum. And I'm hoping to see it go up a lot higher. And Richard's going to go into why this is going to happen. He's going to go into a lot more detail. But I just want you to start thinking about, let's move this price up. So learning. So now's the time to start learning about your taxation within your country and start planning towards that. And the first thing you must do is find an accredited accountant that will help you. And you're probably going, why taxation? Why shouldn't we be looking at portfolios and stuff? But the big thing with taxation is that you need to consider what your portfolio is. And if you're someone that has a lot of CRU or a lot of WCRU, and you start selling next year, and all of a sudden you get $1 million in your bank account, and you haven't got structure set up to deal with that, chances are you're going to lose a big chunk of it to the tax man, because you haven't thought about how you can minimize your tax. And there's actually nothing wrong with learning how to do that, but you've just got to take that step and think, okay, this is my plan. I'm going to talk to my accountant. I'm going to find out what I need to do and start implementing it. Whatever financial product or investment you have and it returns a profit, you have to pay tax. It's an Australian law and it's a worldwide law. And how that's implemented and the rates are all going to be different. This webinar does reach a lot of people outside of Australia, and probably more people outside of Australia than in Australia. So it's something that we need to really focus on and start making our plans for the future. So the amount of tax payable will depend on the product and investment returns, and you must focus on your own strategy and then follow up with your accountant to discuss, because you might see something on Telegram or Facebook and you think, yeah, I'm going to do that. But in your country, that's might not be right, or it might not be legal. So the worst thing you can actually do is take advice from people online or webinars or YouTube. You need to actually go to your accountant in your own country and get professional legal advice. So the big question is, what do we do with our newfound wealth when this happens to us? The chunks in, or what, like it happens. I say to people who've asked me, what should I do? I go, consider your skills, your age. Your age is a really big one, because like someone like me, I'm not really wanting to have a big conglomerate of businesses. I've already got a business and I'm looking to kind of step back and not retire, but semi-retire and have a bit more time to walk on the beach. Someone in their 20s and 30s and 40s, they might be wanting to, set up a big corporation or have a big portfolio or a shop or something. So yeah, the age that you are at now will be a big factor in what you do with your newfound wealth when you start selling crew and WCRU. Your country and location, because there'll be different laws, there'll be different opportunities. And the most thing is, what do you truly want to do? Like, what is your passion? Like, you know, if you're sitting there watching someone else, you know, talking about a business, don't copy them. If you're not really interested in that business, don't go out and go, yeah, well, I'm going to go and buy a shop too. Don't do it. Like, find something that's really important for your passion. And it's okay not to work. I know Richard is going to have a big party and travel around the world and visit everybody. I want to do a lot of traveling, but I'm probably a little bit hesitant to travel at this stage with COVID, but I know that travel is something I want to do too down the track when it's a lot safer to travel. So create investments that work together. And we have a lot of opportunities and a lot of different things. And sometimes what the company has already, Andre has given us a lot of education on what he's done with his own portfolio, with all the different investment sectors all in our company's portfolio. He's got so many, and they all work different, and they integrate different, and they produce different returns, and they're in different sectors, and together that forms a massive portfolio. We can't really do that on the size that he's got it, but we can create our own little sub portfolios. And this is a lovely little example I was thinking about today, and I think what two businesses can work together. So I came up with, in Australia, we get a lot of tax breaks for being a primary producer. So if you had a vineyard that produces wine, and I know I've worked on one, so I know how much fun they are to work on, you actually do get a lot of tax benefits and from the Australian government. And then if you had a pub on the other side, and that's Richard in there having a beer, you could sell your wine to your pub, right? So you're keeping your business within two separate businesses, and it's going back and forth and back and forth. And the really good thing about this is it starts giving your business, your little portfolio, a little bit of security, because you might have a drought and the wine might not be good, but the sales, you could bring in wine from somewhere else and sell it at your pub, so your cash flow keeps going. And then COVID could hit and your pub could close, but your vineyard can produce wine and ship it out, you know, international or in another state of Australia. So it's finding two businesses, or three or four, that will work together, that can actually, you know, you can sort of balance your risk. Another one I came up with was a dog wash, and then having a manufacturing business that creates the soap for your dog wash. Again, if COVID hit and you couldn't get out, you could be selling this online, your soap, or you could sending it to consumers. So both businesses will keep working and complementing each other. Of course, if you just like to, you know, have a little portfolio that gave you yearly dividends, blue chip shares. I know in Australia we have some really good blue chip shares that give us yearly or 2 or 3 times yearly dividends that can just tick away. And then you can have on the other side the crypto portfolio that gives you that erratic, you know, up and down, and that gives you that little bit of interest and you know, buy and sell. So you've got something secure on one side and probably something a little bit risky on the other side, but together they balance. I actually have my own education college. My husband and I work pretty hard in it. We actually just had a class tonight, and I just jumped straight on the webinar after that class. So for me, I love my RTO, and we have it there as our business, which gives us, you know, a good income. And then on the other side of it, I'm into the EverRich ecosystem, which is bringing off the balance. And that's quite a really good thing. So tax as a liability. I've seen so many posts on Telegram saying, oh, if I sell my crew, I have to pay tax, so I don't want to pay tax. And, you know, I actually say the more tax we pay, the better. It's what we actually do to minimize that tax. So if you're paying lots of tax, giddy up, bring it on, because it means you're doing really well. And together with all your portfolios, they will produce, you will have to pay tax on a profit. And what happens to our tax, and the reason why we pay tax, is our governments use our tax to redirect it to their government departments and to fund various programs, and that keeps our countries going. So we do need to pay tax. There's nothing wrong with paying tax. And the government will increase taxes to reduce private sector spending and therefore restrict inflation. Now, this is actually a really important part, because in Australia last year, our government gave out a lot of JobKeeper, which was to keep businesses afloat. And they gave out a lot of funding to Australians, like billions of dollars. And that created quite a lot of cash flow. And what happened was businesses started spending. So once the first lot of COVID lockdown was over, our economy was quite flush. And what happened was housing prices have boomed in Australia. So housing has now become quite unaffordable for people starting out. And so the next step for that is inflation. People are going to want higher wages, which will make manufacture and service more expensive, which will bring the price up. So that's something our government, Australian government's going to have to watch, so our inflation doesn't go through the roof. And I'm sort of watching that with quite interest. So that's another factor that can happen with when, you know, private sector does start spending too much and has too much money to spend. And to redistribute income and wealth, to provide welfare. And like Australia's renowned for the amount of welfare we give, and that's a great thing because it keeps people in homes and different things like that. I don't mind paying tax, but I am very much into minimising my tax obligations. There's structures, there's all kinds of things that you can set up to minimise your tax, and there's nothing illegal about learning to minimise your tax. But there is a difference between tax minimisation and tax avoidance. So here's a basic little like a calculation on how to calculate the tax. And I've just done a random amount of total. A business earns $100,000 a year. You multiply it by the tax rate, and there's different stages. So there's, in some countries there's tax-free zones, and I just did it as a thing just to give people an idea. So 35 cents. So that's $35,000 will be gross tax payable. You deduct offsets and deductions. So you might have a computer, training, car lease, business lease, and that all adds up. And your total expenses, surprise, comes up to $35,000. So your net tax payable is $0. Now, there's nothing illegal about setting up a structure to do something like that, as long as your expenses are legal and you have your receipts and you've got your complete records. So that's some of the type of things you can do with these tax structures. Now, tax evasion is illegal. So an example, your business makes $100,000. You multiply the rate by 35 cents, you get 35,000 gross taxable that you need to pay the government. You fail to disclose your income or take it out in cash. This is illegal, and chances are you will be prosecuted. So if you sell your crew, you stick it into your bank account and you just go on a spending spree and you don't disclose it, you don't work out your structure, you're probably going to get caught. So this is what I'm trying to talk to you about, is about trying to look at your structure and what you're going to do. And whereas if you sell your crew and you have something like superannuation or a business or something that will give you that tax deduction, it starts coming down what you have to pay the government. So allowable deductions are legal deductions associated with the cost of earning your income. So that's in Australia where, you know, if we have a computer that we need for our business, that's a legal deduction. If we need the top iPhone, that is a business phone, that's a legal deduction. The new iPhone came out today, iPhone 13. And, if you're a business, you would probably buy one. I'm going to wait for the 14 though. I believe that's a lot better. You must provide proof of expenses, receipts or invoices. So it's important you have a good accounting system or a good filing system. And you must always seek professional help, advice, and don't make your deductions up if they're not true. Again, don't be afraid to pay tax. The more tax you're paying, the better, the more money you're making. And the last thing you want to do is be looking behind your shoulder. If someone, sees you doing well, they may complain, they may put something into the tax department. If you've got everything right, you're not going to worry. So then we come to education, and as you know, I love education. It's my husband and I have an amazing business, and it's growing from year to year. It's accreditation, so we're really full on with the government with all the rules and all kinds of things. And I spend a lot of time learning about different types of education and what we should have on our scope and what we shouldn't. It is a tax deduction to have education if it's related to your business. The education will help grow your portfolio. It will help, improve what you do. And before you start any kind of education, you must consider whether you have the time to commit to all the lessons and homework. And look at the education. Is that recognised in your country? And that's a really big one. So the education we currently got from our company is there's quite a few. So we've got one for 500 units, 1,000 units, 5,000 units and 10,000 units. So that's currently on offer, and Richard is going to go into this more. So I'm just bringing that on the screen. It's something that will benefit us all. But you've got to realise that if you're thinking of making it a career in your country, you need to investigate whether this will be, you'll be able to use this in your country to practice and finance, because there's a lot of rules in Australia. There's a lot of rules on finance, on whether someone can actually give financial advice and what qualifications they have to have. There's always stuff online about tax, and I really recommend that you find your own tax websites, your own government tax websites. There's always a lot of information. And I looked up the ruling for self-education, and in Australia, this is completely for Australia, self-education and study expenses are costs you incur to study a course at a school, college, university, or other recognised place of education. Now, when you're reading government legislation, you've always got to look at their wording, because they craft their words very carefully. So when you see this part, other recognised place of education, technically, if being an Australian, I'm not going to be able to use the Evo Rich learning courses as a tax deduction. I would do it purely for learning and my own personal self-development, and there's nothing wrong with doing courses for that. But if you're thinking you can have a tax deduction, not in Australia. So and that's sources from the Australian Tax Department. But I've done many unaccredited courses, and they've been amazing. Like, there's so much stuff to learn, and everything you do doesn't need to be accredited as well. So finally, my message is, before you sell any crew or WCRU in large amounts, seek professional advice, preferably with an accountant or financial planner, and try to make sure that you really know what you want to do, and don't overcommit yourself to fast-growing businesses that you may not have the experience to run, or you may not even really want to be doing it. Think about what you're going to do with your portfolio, and listen. And then once you get your advice, absolutely go and Google. Go and look at Google. Google's got amazing stuff, but don't believe every webinar you see out there, because There's a lot of people just get on, bang them up, and they go this, and this, but they're actually not professionals. So if you're doubting the accountant you're talking to, go and see another accountant and get a second opinion. And now I'm going to send you over to Richard Bonell. He's going to share his screen. And I'm just going to back to him.
All right. Well, this is another part of this. We're in this together, even if we can't hold hands right now, because it's about crew, it's about World Crew, and it's about what's just ahead for our company. It's a compilation of discussion from a set of discussions that I've had with people in the company, the looking of webinars, the reading of blogs, the reading of information. It is my theories on what is about to happen. I believe that I'm pretty accurate in what we're going to talk about, because it's been sourced fairly strongly. But let's get started. The company is very much focused on what I would call passing the baton. They're going to be handing a lot of the activity that has been done in the past by various leaders and people in the company, and it's going to be handed on to someone else. And the thing that is going to be handed on, when we move from phase 1 to phase 2, the baton that's going to be passed is truly going to be, this time round, education, and specifically, and very, very specifically, financial education. The company has come to realise a couple of things in the way that they've done things, and they're going to change them. And the reason why they're going to be heavily focused in financial education is because in mid-February, when phase 2 rolls out, they want to be able to be doing things to maximise the profit potential of World Crew, and as a consequence of that, also maximise the profit potential of Crew. And that's why the company have decided to look at this with a completely fresh approach to what they have been doing in phase 1. As the company realised from our start, when we were raising funds for the Skyway testing facility at Belarus, we did say that it was around education. And when we went from SWIG to Crew, we did suggest that that's what it was. But most of us really who were there at that early stages know that what we actually were looking at was this is the baton that we were actually sold. We were sold a way that we were going to be able to get rich quick. And that's what anchored a lot of people to the mission of New. A lot of people were in it because they were going to get rich, and they were going to get rich quick. And we know that it didn't work, and the company knows that it didn't work, because every time they attempt to do something new, they get this massive backlash to almost everything that they're attempting. And so they realised that there was something really amiss and something needed to change. And what they realised is that many, many members have just stopped. They're anchored in a position, and they're no longer actually moving with the company. And this is actually having a negative impact. And we can see the most obvious way that we can see that is with the pricing of Crew. I mean, we're looking at something that by now should be at $1. Absolutely should be, if people understood what it was all about, and yet it's at 1 cent. And so before we get into a couple of these things that are coming. I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about anchoring and what actually stops. I'm going to use the analogy of what stops a ship, and then use that to what's stopping us mentally. Because how does an anchor so small stop a ship that's so big? And more importantly, what has the company come to realise about mental anchors that people have? And what they've come to realise and what they're now understanding is that a mental anchor is dropped when we first experience an expectation that isn't realised. When you have an expectation, corporately, you have an expectation about something that was going to happen with our company and it didn't happen, even if you don't realise it, you have probably dropped an anchor. And this is from research that's been done on this subject, because what happens is it's not the anchor hitting the seabed that starts the slowing up of a ship. Because if you find that your resolve, if your belief in the company is so strong that it's rock solid, that when that anchor hits the seabed and it's rock, it just drags across the bottom of the seabed. It doesn't stop anything. It doesn't work at all. It doesn't secure or stop anything. And that's what happens with a lot of people, that the first time something doesn't quite work out, it doesn't stop them still. They notice it, they acknowledge it, but they keep going. And it's not until our resolve, our belief in what we're doing starts to soften, that an anchor actually digs in, and that's when it begins the process to slow and anchor a ship. Because what actually holds a ship, what actually stops a ship from moving and can hold a ship in place, it's the actual length of the chain that is sitting on the seabed floor. It's actually in physics, it's known as horizontal force, and it's the friction of a dragging chain that actually holds a ship still. The anchor just is a tethering point that allows them to run a chain out. Now, mentally, the same thing happens to us, that when we have a multitude of unrealised expectations, which we would, in an analogy, be calling the chain, that actually is what causes us to come to a standstill. There will be a pivotal thing, there'll be something that actually causes an anchor to drop, but then it is a series and a multitude of sort of things that don't quite go the way we were expecting them that actually forms the chain. And what the company has been doing now for quite a while is they've been working behind the scenes, putting things in place to get things ready. And while that has been going on, there just hasn't been any reason to visit some of those unrealised expectations. And so that chain is still sitting there and we're not moving. And what's about to happen is that the company is now beginning to move to phase 2. And with that movement, the company knows that one of two things is going to happen. That the chain that has stopped a lot of people from moving is going to have all the slack taken out of it. So all the benefit of the doubt is going to be taken out of our emotional arrangement with the company, and that chain is going to get very straightened. And then the first thing that can happen is that as that chain, the anchor pops and drags across the seabed floor, we're resistant to, we move forward with the company, but we do it grudgingly, because the emotional anchor that we have digs in every now and then, it pops out again, then it digs in and it pops out. And the whole way through the relationship with the company, it's done with starting and stopping and starting and stopping and yes and no. And it's not a good relationship for the company to have with us, or for us to have with the company. Or the other thing that will happen is then the company has come to accept it, and when we've actually seen it occur, is that for some, the chain is just not able to be lifted and it actually will break. And then for some, they're going to remain submerged, left lying on, in the case of this analogy, the sea floor, the seabed, and they're just not able to move. Emotionally, what that is, and mentally what it is with people is something happens, and they just can't get past that event. And that's where they actually stop. But what the company's wish is, and this is what the company is saying to people who have a buried anchor, is to those who have stopped because of unrealised expectations, that the company is doing things, they understand what people expected of them, and those expectations are very soon to become realised. Now, one person who popped up and was telling us about what he's doing with particularly the financial side of things, which is the biggest stumbling block for a lot of people, is Mark Millen. He's from Queensland, Australia. Now, Mark, he bought 300 units, he bought 25,000 crew. And since buying them, he's been working on the exchange, and he's turned that 25,000 into 250,000 in 5 weeks of trading. Then Andre has told us over and over and over again in the last few months that the next few months is going to be our last great chance to really make money from crew. Now, people like Mark, and he's just one who put his story in our Telegram group, but they're actually doing it. They're actually doing that very, very thing. And I was sort of thinking as I was looking at that, imagine at $1, what he's going to get for his career if he keeps going the way that he's going. And that's just one example of realising an expectation that you actually can make money with what we're doing with crew. But we are surrounded at the moment by many opportunities to make money. Now, last time we were talking, Michelle talked about this thing about referring people into the exchange. Right now, you can sell World Crew still under the multi-level crowd investing. It's going to end real quick, but there's an opportunity there if you move quickly. You can get involved with the digital guarantee thing. You can get involved with YouGame. There are opportunities all around us if we want to actually be making money. And the time will come as those expectations are realised that there actually will be no more issues holding us. And then we'll be able to weigh anchor and become active again with the company. We won't be resisting or dragging our chain as much as a lot of people are doing right now. So with that being said, the rest of what I want to talk about and the discussion we're going to have tonight is hopefully the start of being able to show people what's going on. And so the realisation that things are actually, the expected things that we had are actually happening. That's the purpose of tonight. One of the things that we need to all understand, and we really, really do need to understand, phase 2 is going to be all about, seriously all about financial literacy. There's not going to be this grey area of, is it really about education or is it about something else and we just say it's about education? Phase 2 is going to be very, very clearly an educational phase. The company have separated the API from all other business activities. Now that was done, first of all, it's a regulatory arrangement, but it's also done so there can be very, very clear lines of difference between education and business. And I believe the company has seen it. They've seen it a while ago because it's painfully obvious that there still is a big financial literacy shortfall within our community. And again, I go back to the woeful price of crew. That's just a glaring beacon of failure in people understanding exactly what crew can do and what they should be doing about it. And the company, I believe sincerely, is not about to let that happen to World Crew. And that's why there's going to be a massive, big movement towards really putting education to the fore. So let's look at some of the things that I believe are going to be happening over the next couple of months, the next 3 to 4 months. First thing, and this has already begun, the company is massively, aggressively, and really getting out there to bring in a whole heap of new members to take the company to the next level. They're not pretending that it's going to be the members who took us from SWIG through crew to get to the end of phase 1. They no longer believe or pretend to believe that it's going to be those members. These new members are going to be the ones that deliver the message of the new economic evolution of the world in phase 2. They are the ones that are going to take up the charge. They're going to carry the company banner. They're going to carry the company message, the logo, the symbol of what new is all about. And they're the ones that are going to do it for the next phase. The reason why they're the ones that are going to do it is because the company sees in our membership who have been around for a while, we're just spent. We're just tired. And it's just a battle-weary look about the company when they talk to people, and the people say that emotionally I'm done or mentally I'm drained, but physically they're still smiling. They don't necessarily have a big bugbear against the company or anything about it. They just are tired. And so the company needs to lift to this amazing next level that we're going to, and it's going to be an incredible phase 2, and we're going to cover some of those things. But the company need new people to do it if that's what it's going to have to take. So who are these people? Now, I've put a name to it. I'm calling it the Society of Investing Professionals. Now, the company is going to create a group within the Everrich group, and that can become from existing members or new members, but it needs to be the membership of this group is going to be people who can genuinely see the future and can genuinely see the role that financial education will play in the future. And the beautiful thing about what the company is setting up, as I see it, is that they're providing something, and hopefully I'll show it tonight, that if you can't go that distance, if you can't do that pace, that's okay. That's okay. The company know that people have exerted an enormous amount of emotional and mental effort to get the company to where it is today. And the fact that they need to step back for a while and recharge and refresh is fine. But the company needs to be going forward, so they need to find new people to go forward with. Now, these new people, when they complete the courses, they're the only people that are going to be licensed to be able to discuss anything about World Crew, licensed by UGPay to be able to discuss about World Crew. There's going to be benefits and entitlements that those people have, and that's fair if they're doing the new work. That there's nothing wrong with that. These new people are they're going to be starting their life with the company, or starting their reinvigoration with the company with a portfolio that has got an investment value of $11 billion. And that's going to be, in the next few months, upgraded to somewhere between $35 to $51 billion. And these people are going to be able to take to the world this message of this investment portfolio of this size. They're going to be able to take an exchange that will have 20 and increasing different tokens and options to be able to actually exchange on it. They're going to have a functional blockchain that is expandable, it's scalable, it's affordable. It's the combination of all of what we have done today being set up so it's able to be talked about and demonstrated and shown, not the way that we talked about it in theory and demonstrated it in kind. These people are going to be able to show this to people straight away. And what these people are going to have to do is they are all going to have to become investment consultants. It's the ultimate, the role now is to get the company to generate, and that's the focus of the company right now. In the next 2, possibly 3 months, this focus is going to become phenomenal, and there's a reason for it. And the reason is there are certain banks within the EU that have actually said yes to being to the funding of the NDE program, and funding it based solely on World Crew being staked with the bank. And that is huge. That is going to make a huge impact on World Crew, on people talking about it. Just imagine a revolving line of credit that someone could have, that they are using an asset, they're using something to back a loan that they're taking, and then when they're not using it, when the loan's being paid off and they don't use it, it's something that's earning them a dividend and earning them an income and increasing in value. I mean, that's a very, very unique financial instrument. But the banks have said in order for them to do that, what needs to be created in a very defined way, and this is why they're going to form a group within the company of a minimum of 15,000 people to be an elite society group, I don't know, whatever the word is you want to call it, within the Ever-Rich group. And that's just where I've come up with this society for investing professionals. Now the company can call it something else. I'm just calling it a name so when we talk about it tonight, you know what it is we're talking about. This group of 15,000 that will be needed to be able to take the company into phase 2 for the duration of phase 2. Now, these people all need that investment consultant certificate given by the Academy of the Private Investor. They all have to have it. It's not something that it's an optional thing with Andre. It's a requirement of the bank, that they actually want to know that when people are talking to people about this digital guarantee, that the people talking actually have some level of understanding of what they're talking about. So that's very, very important. And again, as I said just before, it's the only those who have that certificate are going to be allowed by UGPay to discuss and set up and sell on behalf of UGPay World Crew. The company cannot afford to have people talking about World Crew who aren't financially literate. And that's why there is this massive push on financial literacy. So the way it's going to work, and the company have already got the 300 that they were looking for, but they've announced that they're going to expand that out to a little bit more than 300. And the idea is those 300 will go and find 10 people each. And they will be, there's going to be a set of people within the company, leaders in the company, set up to coach them, to guide them and direct them and help them go out and each find 10 people. Those 10 will then go and work again with the company, work with their sponsors, work with their mentors, and then go and find 5 more. And that's the way the company intends to get the 15,000 that they need to get certified in a special group. They will have their own, probably their own Telegram chat group. They'll have their own little meetings. They will have their own webinars. They'll have their own, they will be privy to a lot of stuff that maybe the rest of the rank and file aren't going to be privy to. But they're the ones that are driving the energy. They're the engine that's going to move the company into that next level. And when you see in a minute what the company has for the rest of us, the company hasn't left out those that took the company from its beginnings to the phase 1 completion. What's going to happen is once that is all set up, you'll find that in your back office, under the staking area of your world crew, a new option will appear where you will click a staking. You'll click on the staking. That'll give you a menu, a drop-down menu. You'll then allocate whatever the crew is that you need to allocate to secure your loan. You'll nominate the bank that you're working with, and then that will be transferred, and that will be held then by the bank while you conduct your loan with the bank. Now, these people are going to be this man, Valery Petrov. If you look at his bio, if you look at where he's been and what he's done, this man is eminently qualified to bring this team of people to the point where they need to be in all of the areas of crypto economics, with management, with financial skills. They're going to be, these 15,000 people are going to be extremely well equipped in the area of financial literacy. Obviously, Andre Harato is going to be working with them as well. He's designing the course and setting up the course and making sure the course is run properly, as well as Artem, and are working in the area of liquid investments and management using his skills. He's going to be working with this 15,000 people to help get them through to get their certification, which then the flow on from that is that we get then the liquidity from banks to be able to roll out the digital guarantee. And we'll talk about why that's so important in just a little while. Also, they'll be bringing in specific specialist coaches to work with those people to do the exact thing that they need to qualify to get their certificate. Now, these, one of the things that they're going to, one of the things is that these group of people, they're not going to, it's not a cakewalk for them. I'm sure that they're going to face their own battles. They're going to face their own issues that they have to overcome, but they get a great start. The existing membership who brought them to the end of, who came to the end of phase 1 and just need to step back for a while and recharge, have given this new group of people an incredible start. They'll have, the functional blockchain. They'll have a multi-token exchange, global payment system, all of an enormous amount to give them a great kickstart to be able to take the new economic evolution to the world. And I think that is pretty cool. What the existing membership will have set up for this new group of people is something that we all should be extremely proud of, because it's good. And okay, just saying yes, there are any existing member who wanted to be a part of this can be so, but they need to understand that it is a real commitment to financial education. It's a real commitment because of what is needed to bankroll and set up the digital guarantee program. It's not going to be a half-baked idea. Everybody is going to need to be committed. But there is also the opportunity with the company say to people who have been fighting the good fight for a long time, look, if you just need to just step back for a while and let someone else do it, then step back. There's no shame in stepping back. I think oftentimes we've had the view or we've had the feeling that if we aren't involved in everything that comes up, somehow we're not participating properly, we're not committed, we're not supportive, we're not doing that. Well, the company is not interested in that. Well, they understand that there does come a point where you're phenomenally interested, but you just can't go the distance. And there's nothing wrong with that. And the company, I think it's great that the company have finally come to see that, yeah, they still need to go forward. So they've got to find the people to do that, but they don't necessarily have to find it amongst the existing members. And the reason why this is important, and the reason why the company's banner is going to fly, and it's going to fly hard, and it's going to fly high, and it's going to be very, very, very prominent, is the world is going to be coming out of the pandemic. We are going to have, and we're going to move into a post-pandemic era that the world is heading towards, and the company knows that it's coming. The company is fully aware that it's just around the corner. And what greater tool could the company go to the world with than a tool that offers a revolving line of credit based on a token? That is something that, when I think about that, I think that is sensational, that a revolving line of credit that all it requires is the purchase once of World Crew. And when you buy that World Crew, again, like I said just before, if you're not using it, it's earning you a dividend. It's growing in value. And then when you need it, you simply go into your back office, click on a button that says stake. Okay, obviously there's an application form you'd have to fill out, and I'm probably making it a little bit simpler than what it is. But basically that's what it's going to be. On the basis of the World Crew, a homeowner, if they need some issue as far as paying school fees or some utility or repair or emergency, if they've got Crew, if they've got World Crew, they can simply go and stake their World Crew, overcome whatever that problem is, and have their collateral, have what's backing their loan, earning them a return and earning them a dividend and increasing in value. That is so much better than going to go to the bank and getting a loan and repaying back a loan. This is something that is so unique and so good. And for us, it's just months away. And it will dramatically impact the price of World Crew. It will therefore have a flow-on effect of Crew, because guess what? As this begins to be set up, they can't buy Crew. You can't buy World Crew anymore. At the end of this month, it's going to stop being sold. The only way they're going to be able to set this up is by buying Crew and converting it. And think about the business people that the Ugain people are just about to go and see. Imagine going to see a person in business and you can show and explain to them how a token can be the basis of a revolving line of credit. That's something that I think will have great appeal in business, particularly because it's something that's increasing in value and returning them a dividend while they're holding it. Now, where that all impacts all of those people that aren't getting involved, and this is particularly those that maybe have been with the company in the start is hopefully we can see it off this chart. This is a chart of all the crew that is sitting on Unitex right now, from the lowest amount up to $1. This is the way it's sitting on Unitex as of today. So you can see this is the 0 to 10 cents, 11 to 20 cents, all the way through. That's the main bracket there. And then this is the individual amounts going right the way through. But this shows you where the money is sitting and where the value is. And there's an interesting thing that nobody seems to like the 60-cent bracket. I don't know why that's so left out, but everybody seems to have skipped it. So that's something to be thinking about when you're placing money if you want to. But just remember that chart, that there is all this crew is sitting there, because businesses that are needing revolving lines of credit need to put up World Crew as collateral. And they can't get it through the multi-level crowd investing any longer. The only way they can get it is going to Unitex. So they're going to have to go buy what you've just seen on that other chart. And what they're going to have to do is they'll first of all, initially, they'll buy crew. Eventually, they will be able to do it as crew begins to unlock. But crew unlocking, there's not going to be a lot of it. A World Crew unlocking, there's not going to be a lot of it. And in comparison, there is going to be a lot more crew. You think about all of this money that's going to be coming back from Aventi, all of that there's going to be a lot more crew available for businesses to convert. Now, on that chart, there's 16,937,900 crew sitting on Unitex at the moment. If a business owner needs 10,000 crew, World Crew, to stake and back, he'd be the collateral for his loan, that means the Society of Investment Professionals only need to find 16,900 businesses, or that, individual people. That's not a big number. That is not a big number. And if there's 15,000 members in that society, in that group, well, that just means each person has just got to go find 1.13 businesses, somewhere between 1 or 2 businesses. And that means all the crew, every crew between where it is now, $1, has suddenly just wiped off Unitex. It's all gone. And this is the thing that is what Andre Gerardo said, that this will be the last chance that we have to make money from crew. Now, it's up to us. If we're going to sell it for a cent, that's still up to us. But we could sell it for $1. And that's 16 million crew could very, very quickly disappear. And we'll talk about another thing that's also going to help it disappear. But if you think about when this group of people go out into the world and talk to business people and talk to other people and talk to even just mums and dads and people, with all of the stuff that they're going to be able to show is backing the company and backing World Crew, stuff that none of us ever had it. Do you think that they might be able to find 1 or 2 businesses? Because I really do. And if you think that they would be able to, then think about this, because this is something that I do not understand why people don't get, because this reflects back for us that all of those people, every one of those people know that they will have to pay at least $1 for World Crew, plus the conversion fee. But they know that they're coming to the marketplace knowing they've got to pay $1. And AK has said to us over and over again, whatever price is obtained by the owner of crew when it's sold on Unitex is theirs to keep. It's ours to keep. Now, if we only want a cent for it, that's ours to keep. And then when those people convert to World Crew and they pay 99 cents, they'll pay that to UGPay. But if we sell ours for $1, that's ours to keep. So why anybody would be selling Crew for $1 is just, they just don't understand what is. And we're talking about something that's not 3 to 5 years away. We're talking about something that's 3 to 4 months away. It's that close. So if we understand that, and just quietly, I'm quite happy to buy as much Crew as I can raise and put my hand on and go boom, boom, as much as I can, because this is going to happen. What we're talking about right now, this is going to happen. So I know that how many things do you ever get to buy where you absolutely know it's going to go up in price? There's not very many times we get that opportunity when we're investing in things. So I think, doesn't it make sense to just have buckets of these Crew and sell them for at least $1? Doesn't that make sense? To me, it does. I just can't see why anybody, I'm happy to buy it at a cent, but I just cannot see why anybody would be selling it at a cent. So let's leave that. We can digest that and think about that. What else has young Andre been up to? From reading on various things, well, okay, he's working really hard with Valerie and Artem with the API and with Artem with his investment portfolios and the liquid asset things. But he's also been writing a whole lot of articles with a particular end game in mind, and that he's been writing these for these magazines, so he'll be interviewed by Forbes magazine, Bloomberg's, and also investing.com. And this is going to also be something that happens in the lead up to the February phase 2 launch of the new economic evolution of the world and Crew. Now, how good is that? To me, that is so exciting that we're going to have these very, very reputable investment magazines and publications and websites be talking and presenting World Crew to the world. And Andre's going to get to be able to do that on behalf of all of us. How good would that, being one of these 15,000 people, to be able to go show that to people? I mean, that's an amazing step up, and what that will reflect on us in World Crew prices and also in Crew prices means, again, why would you be selling Crew for a cent? It just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, as I say, these guys are going to be able to take that. Now, what else has Andre been doing? This is super cool. Andre's been appointed as the head consultant to a particular economic region of the world. Now, I know where that is, but it's appropriate that he actually announce where it is. But he's been advising them on security token regulations and protocols for the security exchange that they want to set up. And as a result of this discussion and backwards and forwards with what he's been doing, our World Crew token will probably be the first security token listed on their exchange. And it gets better, and all of this has been, fingers crossed, will happen around either before or around about the time of the Crypto Expo in Dubai, which is in October. So we're talking about, that's next month. This time next month, this could actually be in place. Now, think about what that will do to the price of World Crew and, by association, the price of Crew. Would you wish that you hadn't sold your Crew for a cent today if this is about to happen in a month? Now, it will happen. Now, whether it happens before or after the conference, they're trying to get it to work at the conference. And the big kicker from that, they've already lined up if the security token gets listed, their first billionaire who's agreed that he will sign up and buy into the World Crew token. Now, I think those two things are really, really big. And if you think about that 16,937 crew sitting on the exchange with big money moving in to buy crew and people looking for collateral for revolving lines of credit, 16,937,000 crew won't take long to get rid of. So why would you, again, I'm going to keep pounding away at this until we don't see a cent anymore, but seriously, why would you be selling it for a cent? And these guys, this society of professional investors, they're going to have this in their arsenal to go show people, go show members, go show the public. They're going to be able to do that. How cool is that? Now, what's Unitex been up to? The news on Unitex is there's actually been agreements signed with other exchanges, and that's pretty cool. And an exchange, and we're going to hear about it, an exchange with an existing membership of 4 million people has agreed to collaborate with Unitex, and that's going to happen on or just after. They're hoping to be able to announce it at the Dubai Expo in October. That's next month. That's 4 million people are going to get almost an overnight exposure to our tokens. So UNTB, CAU, would you really be wanting to get rid of them right now? On top of the exchanges, and I spoke to Armands about this because it had come up another way, and he confirmed that when all of this goes through, there also is an exchange. One of the problems that a lot of people who are Muslim have a problem with getting on Unitex because of the Islamic rules regarding exchanges. But the company is actually working with, and Armands confirmed it with me, with an Islamic exchange. So those people are going to be able to start buying and selling the company's tokens in a manner and in a form that is acceptable to the Islamic faith. And that is also big news. That is a huge, big plus for exchange activity. Now, one of the things, and Michelle was talking about it earlier, that the 30-day average for trading on Unitex is 6.7 million USDU, which gives us the total membership, it gives us an average of $275 a day. So that's a pretty good turnover. It's one of the things that Andre talks about a lot, that the actual turnover on our exchange, and I had no idea the numbers were that small, that there's only 24,000 people, because obviously not all 24,000 trade every day or go on the exchange every day. But our turnover is colossal. Imagine what we could do if we could, what Michelle was talking about, if there's, I think it was 66,000 people have registered. Well, imagine if we could get half that number again to actually be able to go through the process, understand what the company needs for them to verify, and actually be working on Unitex. That's a really solid number for an exchange that's only got 24,000 people on it. 6.7 million 30-day turnover. That's excellent. And keep saying it about this group of 15, these lucky guys, that they're going to be able to take that to the world. They're going to be able to show that to the world. And that has an incredible positive impact on World Crude price and on therefore, the flow on from that is crude price. So if you're sitting back, I'm just going to start to wind up now, and if you're sitting back and you're recharging, and again, the company has come to acknowledge there's nothing wrong with that. That in fact, they've been probably, what's that expression? They've been trying to flog a dead horse for so long, and now they've suddenly realised that they've got to change the way they're doing it. But if you've got a chain that's dragging a bit, and you need to look at some of the things that, this didn't happen or this didn't happen, look at the information that comes out of Eventi 21. Look at what is posted in various groups. If there's one of the things that the company are doing that you particularly like, join that Telegram group and really get involved with that particular group. Look at that. Listen to, try and get on the closed meetings with Andre and Artem. Try and get on, and you get an incredible focus on some specifics of what the company are doing, because it will help you lift that chain. It will help you see, maybe you got to sit back and say, yeah, I'd like to see it when it happens, and fine, but look for it. Be looking. Don't say, I want to see it, I'll believe it when I see it, but then not look. Look at all of these things. Listen to the information that comes out of this conference. See how the company performs. Listen to the attachments and the associations and the networking that goes in this conference, because this is stuff that's next month. And it's something that if you understand and see it and hear it, you'll know what price to put on World Crude. You'll know what price to put on your crew. And you'll know, you'll have a greater respect for your crew. Mark Twain is credited with making this comment, and I'll wrap up last couple of slides. It isn't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that isn't correct. So there's a lot of people who have created a bit of a negative persona in their mind about the company and exactly what it does, and they're convinced of it. And I'm trying to get across in this presentation tonight that the company has got an incredible heart and soul for all of us. It has a job to do. It's got to take the company forward, and maybe in the past they have probably pushed people who were already spent and saying that, you're not motivated, you're not part of, they've been negative of it. Well, that's past. The company are now sort of realising that there is a time when you just have to bring new people in, and those people take things forward. But if your feeling is that, the company doesn't care, it just isn't so. The company has great heart and great care for the members. Now, we would love for this sign to be posted through social media right through the world, that World Crew is sold out. If you look at what I've presented tonight, and other stuff that is available for us to read, this actually could happen very, very quickly. It could be very fast. We hold the answer. We hold the answer to the success of phase 2, to the success of Unitex, the success of global unit pay, the success of all of the things that the company is doing, the price of World Crew, the price of crew. We actually hold the answers truly in our hands. And in time, the unrealised events that caused you to drop your anchor, they actually will be realised. They actually will come to pass. the question I'm going to leave you with is, will you be holding any crew when that happens? And Michelle, we can go to question and answers. I end that.
Can everybody just give Richard a massive big thank you, +1, love hearts, everything in the chat. That was a wonderful presentation, Richard. Thank you so much. Love it. I just really want to say to everybody that we really appreciate all your constant support, and Richard and I both research and we compare notes and we drive the leaders up the wall, constantly asking questions, and some leaders will talk to us, some will just kind of go, no, we're not going to tell you anything. But you know, we are starting to get there, and I think I really hope our webinars have helped many of you learn some of the stuff. And I try on my part to bring in everyday stuff that we can all learn and implement into our future growth, because I know that crew and WCAU is really going to work for us, but it's a time thing. It's look, I'm impatient too. You know, if I could have it all pop in tomorrow, I'll be like giddy out. But like, you know, it's a long-term investment, and it does, you know, like, and it's, we've done the time and it's just about to happen. And like, you know, like we've just all got to go, let's work together, let's get our crew. And I'm going to leave you with one concept. If you have a house mortgage, work out how much you would need to pay off at $1, and you can buy your crew now at just a cent. How many crews do you need to pay off your current home loan or debt or something? And work it out and get in there and get them while people are selling at 1 to 2 cents. So that's all I would say to you all. So let's open up.
But that's not advice. That's just a thought. That's just a thought.
Just not do it, right? Yeah. So I'm going to open up the floor for questions and answers. So let's hope we can get some answers going.
Okay.
Come on.
Richard,
yeah.
I have a bit of a question for you.
Yep.
What's the go with USDU? Because it's really slipping. It's not going very far, is it?
So in what respect?
It's not going up very much. Like it's just stagnant.
UNTB or USDU?
USDU.
Yeah, no, UNTB. It's still
UNTB.
0.0063. It hasn't. It's very slow. It actually very sluggish.
Yeah. Look, when you tell me how many people are on the exchange, and I didn't know that was a much lower number than I thought. But the two of them, they go hand in hand. That you're not going to get a massive movement in UNTB when you've got no interest. Like absolutely, they parallel each other. If people actually understood what the value of crew is, they would have a absolute parallel understanding of the value of UNTB. Because there's no respect for either of them, that's why they are where they are. And the company, it's a hard thing to the company can say things, and it gets back to this thing that I was talking about this chain, that if you're just not, you just don't believe it, or you're going to say, no, I just want to see it before I believe it. If you can lock yourself down and you can not want to hear it and not react to it or not do anything, and the company's saying, fine, we can't do any more than what we've done. We are going to pedal our own course. We are going to go get our own people. And that's what they've gone and done. They've gone and got a whole group of people that aren't knocked about as much as all of us old timers are. They're not, you know, I mean, we all could probably rattle off a dozen things that we could justify why we're not doing what we used to do when we first got started. And whether it's they're legitimate or not, the fact is it's what's stopping us. And so the company said, okay, I can't change Richard Bonell's mind. But what I can do is I can go find someone that hasn't been beaten around as much as Richard Bonell and go get him and go get that person to go forward. And that person's going to go forward with all the things that I have battled and emotionally battled to get, like we talked about blockchain and tokens and exchanges and security exchange commission effective statuses and all the things that we've gone through. Those people are going to go forward with all that stuff. Then what will happen, and this is what the point I was trying to make, is that if I actually am watching what's going on, I'll see it. But I wonder how many in the overall community actually know what the price of UNTB is. You know, do people actually know? And they don't, because they're not looking. I wonder how many people have been in their back office, and how often do they claim their UNTB? Or they just say, oh, we'll get it one day, you know, I'm not really that fussed, you know, oh, bloody hell, you know, you got to type in your 12 words every time you go in, you know, and come up with reasons why they don't want to do anything. But all of that reflects in that low price. But exactly what I just sort of read that point, imagine if 4 million people suddenly want to start getting onto our exchange. Now, there's 4 million people who are exposed to it. What happens if just 10% of them want to get in and have a look? We've got 24,000, what was it, 24,600?
26.
Okay, 26,000.
Verified.
Yeah. But imagine if suddenly 400,000 people start rolling in. God, the poor blokes in support would die, you know. but exactly, Rose, they're going to need to get a wallet. So that's going to cost you UNTB. They're going to need all sorts of support and backup and crew and UNTB. All of a sudden, there's going to be a massive requirement of people to have UNTB. It's just, at the moment, it's just us doing our thing, and there's a lot of people doing it dragging a chain. You know, there's a lot of people get knocked back on their verification of the exchange, and they go, oh, yeah, we'll get round to it sooner or later. What we're going to do is we're going to find who those people are and say, what did you need to do? I needed to take my picture again. You say, okay, why don't you take your picture again? You know, and they've just put off taking their picture for 3 weeks. You know, we need to encourage those people to look at what it is that what it is that's needed, and encourage them to go do it. But we're sitting on something that's is just going to, the UNTB and crew price, my goodness, we're weeks away from seeing a massive need for both of them, and with that need will come an increase in price. On Saturday night, Andre Harato is going to reveal some of that information to us. So that'll be a really worthwhile to come on, to listen to.
And guys, don't forget, like, you need UNTB to buy RAM, and people that are opening, that are going to be quite full-on traders, they're going to want to have decent amount of RAMs in their wallet. So they're going to be out there wanting to buy UNTB. So right now, all of us are getting UNTB as part of our staking. So the value, like, it's like the whole thing, when you buy something, it becomes valuable to you. Like, if you bought something for $1, you're not going to sell it for 5 cents unless you really have to, but most people won't. So at worst, you would sell it for what you bought for to get your money back. So at the moment, we're getting UNTB for free, like from staking. So the value there is a little bit underrated, but that is a time thing, and Andre knows that. And right now, if you don't have a lot of UNTB, now's the time to get on there and start collecting it by a little bit at a time. And the UNTB, you'll need it for like net and RAM in your wallets, and big traders are going to want to have a lot of RAM in their wallets, so they will buy UNTBs. And as the demand for UNTB will start to creep up in price, and that will just happen very slowly at first, but once we get volume users on the exchange, as Richard's just said, it'll just go like this straight up. So we just got to, again, wait, as we do, and we're really good at waiting. Absolutely.
May I ask a question, please, Richard and Michelle? May I ask, is the 500 education sufficient to buy World Crew over and beyond the 10,000?
No.
No.
No. You'll need to buy it through someone who is an investment consultant.
But if we do the education for the $500, that's what I'm talking
That
about.
won't get you to be an investment consultant. That's a
Right.
That's a separate course that you've got to do. You would be able to discuss it with a family friend or something like that, but the actual purchase can only be done by someone who is certified by UGPay, and part of that certification is they have to be an investment consultant.
So they'd have to do the top cost course.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay, thank you, Richard.
And for all of us that do have WCAU, how lucky are we? Like, wow. Imagine trying to come into the company and get it in even in a month's time once it stops being sold. You know, even that process is going to be expensive compared to what we all got it for.
Yep.
So well done,
Anybody
us.
else? Anybody?
Any more questions?
Any more? No.
Yeah, just
Go-
one. So is it basically the goal for us to buy as much crew as we can?
It's okay. Let's not say we're going to be giving advice, but I'm going to pick up as many of those little suckers as I can get my hand on.
Cool.
I really am, because I am 100% convinced in the rise in price that is going to occur. I am also convinced that it's going to occur round about, by the latest, it's going to be February. There's very few times I think I've had in my life where you actually are getting a chance to actually look into the future. And what Andre's trying to do for us right now is trying to explain all of what's going on, and then we have to piece together all those pieces to create what the future is. He can't actually guarantee it or tell us, and all he can do is say, we're doing this over here, we're doing this over there, this links to this, and exactly what Michelle was talking about the portfolio, that it all links together and it's all got a purpose. And the purpose has taken probably longer than those of us that have been around since day one, probably taken longer than what we thought. But the process is still going forward. And it's just a matter of, if you think it'll happen, you'll react and you'll buy crew tonight. If you think, yeah, I've heard all that before, well, you're not going to buy crew tonight. You might buy your crew in a month's time when you start to see things happening. If you go onto Unitex and click on the 1 day candle, click on the day candle, on the where it's got all the little candles, click on the day candle and look at what's happened in the last week. It's an absolute turnaround, which is mind-numbing when you look at it. You won't see it unless you look at it on the day candle, and it's absolutely very, very, very exciting, and something that occurs over the 6 days, and it's going up over the last 6 days. You would be boom, boom, boom like a crazy person right now if you had the money. Don't spend money you haven't got, because that's ridiculous and silly. But if you've got $100 sitting in your sock drawer, you'd be better off putting that into Crew at the moment rather than leaving it in your sock drawer.
And that's not advice. That's just what Richard.
And that's not advice. Yeah, that's what Richard did when he raided his sock drawer.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you know, the information that Richard and I are finding, like when I found out the numbers on Unitex that were actually verified, I was like, wow, we are just blitzing it. Like you know, like Crew. Someone's just Aurora's just posted in our chat that Crew is 0.018643 right now, and you know I know that's only like under 2 cents. But hey, it was better than a few days ago. So it is on the rise. And once WCRU cannot be purchased by the company and they have to come to Unitex and buy Crew and then convert, guess what's going to happen? The price is going to go up really fast. So if you've got stuff you want right now, me personally, I've sort of bought enough Crew to pay off a home, and once it hits $1, giddy out. That's how I look at it. I just budgeted it and I went, yep, we're doing this, honey. My husband like cringes because he doesn't do stuff like this, and Richard's laughing because he knows, and he leaves it up to me. But you know, I can't wait when this happens, and I'm going to say, oh honey, I'm just going to pay the house off today, but you know, sorry, we've got kind of $100,000 tax bill, but you know, shit happens. But I don't mind that. You know, as I said earlier, if we have to pay tax, giddy up, because we're making money. Tax doesn't take 100% of your profit. It takes a little bit of your profit plus less deductions. And that's what it's all about, guys, is finding out your deductions and setting up your structures so you're not paying that much tax, but you're getting the benefits.
And also, don't worry about the 1 cent. If you buy $5,000 worth of something at a cent and it goes to 2 cents, that's 100% on your money.
Yep.
You've just made 100% on your money if you sold it. You know, so it doesn't matter if it's a cent or if it's half a cent or whatever it is. It's how much it's going to go up. That's the thing that you're looking at. You're looking at the percentage increase. It doesn't matter that it's a cent. You just buy, you know, thousands of them. But when they go to 2 cents, you've just doubled your money.
And I'm going to throw in one more thing. I'm going to say, like, now that we know what we know, we're going to buy them for what we can today, tomorrow, whatever, and we're going to wait for that dollar. Like, who would not want to wait for that dollar? Like, come on, let's put a plus in the chat if you're not going to want to wait for that $1 price. Like, come on, I am going to put like something across.
But I mean, what you could, I think you do what, like, I look at Mark's example, Mark Miller's example, that he got 25,000 Crew.
Yeah.
Now he could have put them on the exchange at $1 and picked up $25,000 when it gets to $1, cost him 300 and he got back 25,000. Because he is trading it, he's turned 25,000 into 250,000. Now, to me, the answer is that you trade it until it gets to the price that you want to exit the market. If you're going to exit the market at $1, if you're going to exit the market at 50 cents, because that's what your financial needs are, you're going to exit it at 60 cents, whatever it is. You can be buying it and then put it on at that exit price, or you can be trading it over and over and over up to that exit price. And when it gets to your exit price, if you've done like similar to what Mark's done, you will exit with way more crew than just buying it once and putting it on your exit price. So it's just something to think about. And seriously, if we need to do some, if people want a bit of a hand, do we do a couple of webinars on exchanging on Unitex? We'll organise and we'll do some and show, and we'll go through how you actually do that. So we'll get Mark on, he's the expert at it. We'll get him on and he can teach us all how to do it. But it's the beautiful thing about exchanging, and this is the thing that some people get a little bit confused about, is when you're trading in Forex, you can make money. You can make money if the market goes down or goes up. And sometimes when some people predict that it's going to go up and it goes down, they lose money. But when you're exchanging, you can only make money on it going up. So you can't lose money. You can't buy something at a price, and then if you put a price that is 30% greater than the price you bought it, you just have to be patient for it to get to that price. But you can't lose money, because you don't lose money until you sell it. If you sell it at a lower price, then yeah, you'll lose money then, but you don't sell it. You just have to sit on it. Now, we have I think, Richard, not giving advice, this is Richard, this is the result of drinking tea, that I know that the price of crew is just under 2 cents now. Now, I know that if I bought it at that price and put it on the exchange at 10 cents, it's going to go to $1. So somewhere along the line, it has to go through 10 cents to get to $1. Now, if I buy it, if I sell it at 10 cents, yeah, I know. Yeah, I blame you for my tea, Lorna. Don't even bring it up. I drank it. I got proof that I drank it. But when you're doing exchanging, and then even if you then buy, if you're waiting for it to go, that the price, it fluctuates, it dips. So all you got to do is be patient to wait until it dips back below the price you sold it for. And that means you're then going to be buying more of them. And you simply, you turn around and say, you know what, I'm going to make 10% on my money. So you figure out what your buying price was, you add 10% to that, and that becomes your new selling price. And you simply don't sell it. And if the market, you buy it at a certain price and the market initially drops away, stiff, just watch it drop away. You know that somewhere in the next 4 months, it's going to hit $1. We know that. Okay, we shouldn't say that. Richard Bonell thinks that it is going to. So Richard's making plans around that happening. So it just means that, okay, at the moment I've got a whole lot of crew sitting in the $1.90, the 1.9 cent bracket. It's got to get to $2 before I'm going to have any more money to be able to buy again. It's locked there. Now it's dropping away. It hasn't hit there, but I know that's probably when Andre Gerardo talks to us on Saturday night. You watch the price go past $2, because what he tells us about on Saturday night, it is definitely going to rocket up. So if you're buying crew at $1.86 now, good on you, because you're going to make money next week. There's no way knowing what he's going to tell us, because I know what he's going to tell us. There's no way knowing what he's going to tell us is going to cause the price to go down. It's just, so you just got to be patient. Just, we know that it's going to go. Richard Bonell thinks it's going to go to $1. So that's the plans that, that I'm making with my crew investments. I just think I don't get anywhere I've ever been investing in that I get such a red hot lead. I've been a professional punter. I know of horses that have been fixed in races to win certain races, and they were absolute sure bets, and something happened and they didn't make it, you know, and they didn't do what had been set up 6 months. This horse had been primed for this particular race and had been held back, and all sorts of crazy stuff had gone on. And then on the day of the race, the stallion went to the racetrack, smelled a mare that was on heat, and he lost the plot and went crazy. And, you know, the whole thing went down the toilet. And thousands of dollars was lost because some horse got horny, you know, and things like that. That's not going to happen with crew. You know, we know that it's going up past that price. We know it's going to go to $1. You just got to be patient, and then it's how many times you want to turn it over on its way to $1.
Is there any more questions before we finish up? Thank you, Richard.
I'll just get off my soapbox.
He's like, I'm thinking, oh, should I just interrupt there? But
I have a question.
Yep.
Yeah, so we had the Pernod going to be working on the trading bot, and it sort of went, I talked to Tom a little bit about this already, but I just wanted to know if we could have a rough estimate. I do believe he is on the call tonight. If you just have
he
a
is like, Pernod, would you like to get in and have it open up and
like maybe an ETA or something? Yeah.
I can see you there, Pernod. But do you want to? I've just tried to see if he's will talk to us. No.
Just while we're waiting for him, I'd be interested in one of those sessions with the guy that's been
hello.
doing the crew.
Hello.
He's on.
Yeah, mate.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Can you see me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you like to know?
How's it going?
Yeah,
I'm
like
good.
what?
You can talk to Pernod. You can talk to them like about the problem we've been having about trying to get the information that we need to get that going. That's okay.
Is there work being done to try to maybe circumvent or a plan B to get the coding?
It's program.
Okay, I will explain. Actually, what I wanted to access the exchange was the application programming interface known as the API. But what I was provided was the Swagger. Swagger is something we use for testing purposes. So I was unable to test my work on the live exchange. So currently I had to put it on hold until the exchange documentation has been released. That's the kind of the status we are at now. The bot for almost it's ready. It's almost ready for test. But the APIs they provided are not working.
Yeah, so Pranay and I have been trying to get the information from the IT department, and I've had a few barriers on being able to extract that out, and some of the stuff I've sent to Pranay and it hasn't worked, and unfortunately I can't seem to get the right information out of the IT department. The stuff they give us doesn't work, and I don't know if that is going to, I don't know why they just don't go, here it is. I don't know whether they haven't prepared it or I'm not getting any answers, but we'll keep trying. All I can say is we'll keep trying, because we want this sorted out. We want this working for us all, because once we get this sorted out, it'll be a really good little app for us to all use. And Pranay's done so much work on it already that all he needs is, think of it like electricity socket, and the plug point going into the electricity socket. That's all we need. It's like Pranay's programming's got to go into the socket to get the information so this little app can work for us. And unfortunately, we're getting a few barriers in getting that information from the company, which we'll keep trying. And I won't give up. I'll just drive them up the wall with my constant emails and messages like Richard and I used to do and that stuff. That's what we do. We drive them up the wall.
Well, thanks very much for all your hard work and your tenacity towards getting the end result.
I'm sure we're not liked, but anyway, like we just do it anyway. That's what we do.
Now, I saw just earlier, Mark Miller, are you still on the call? Can you, can you see
I'm just
him?
looking. No. Oh, yeah, he is. Mark, I can see you there.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, do you want to come on the call and tell us about your trading experience of making all that crew? Particularly tell us how many UNTB did you burn through? Is he there?
He's there. He's not.
He's there.
I've asked him to unmute, but he hasn't.
No, okay.
Maybe he's asleep. It is late.
Okay. All right. Okay. No, I just thought he was there. He might be able to. All right. If there's no more questions, we'll
we
wrap
had
it up,
somebody
haven't
that
we?
got cut off just before Prenoy.
Oh, Tony's got his hand up. Yeah, Tony.
Hey guys, first off, thank you for all you guys do and all the inside info that you gather. And yeah, this is pretty exciting where we're at, what we got coming up. Hey, just long range picture on something, you know, one of our old roadmaps, we talked about an IPO for the Academy of Private Investor on NASDAQ. And I know that Andre shared with us that they've reset the table on that. Is that, I know Crew and W Crew is really focused here tonight and right now, is that still a conversation piece that the company as a whole is having in the future down the road next year? Maybe not a timeline on it, but
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a really, the Academy of the Private Investor is kind of Andre's little baby.
absolutely.
And he's got a personal interest in getting it there because he owns 55% of the shares of the company. So he's got a big need for it to go. But look, that's his baby. But to get it through in the States, there's quite a lot of regulatory work that they've got to go through. It's very, very involved. Education in the States is a really, really hot topic. You just can't put your hand up and say, oh, we're going to start an academy or we've got this. They've got to go through the criteria, the curriculum. They've got to go through the courses. It's got to be vetted. It's got to be verified. It's got to be all of these things because when they take it to the market, if it's not rated as genuine education, it stuffs up his IPO.
Sure.
Absolutely crashes the price. So the integrity of the education has got to be at the highest level. So when it's seen and it's understood, the authorities say, yes, this is genuine accredited education, blah, blah, blah. Or they say, this is like he was talking about the stuff that Tony Robbins does. It's not accredited, but it is so vital for people to understand it. They will get it. Now, what he's trying to do is if these banks in Europe accept the investment consultant ranking or the course curriculum, and they will back the World Crew token as collateral for loans, that gives him an enormous boost to the curriculum that he's setting up. So all of it's exactly what Michelle was saying, that like the NDE has a link to the API, because if the NDE is successful, its success is based on the fact that the curriculum of API was good enough for it to work. So one thing is linked to the other. And so they've just got to do that. So much of what he's doing is still focused on it having a positive impact on API. So even if he doesn't have something that gets through the scholastic, the academic accreditation, it gets a moral accreditation that is so high that it still puts a good dollar value on the company. And so that might be the plan B, that a plan A might have been academic certification. It may not ever get that, but what it will get is something that is so sought after and so high that he will still get a good price for his IPO when he takes it there. But he just has to take that through, and that's probably going to take another 12 months.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Well, thank you both and everybody else, everybody in our group. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. And look, I just want to say, Richard and I so appreciate all the support. We constantly get, and like the kind words and the comments, and we both are very different people. And Richard and I have actually never met in person. Like, he lives in the coal place, Victoria, and I'm more north. So we do plan to meet when COVID is out and we're allowed to travel, and it'll be fun. But I just want to say, like, I hope the information that we give you works and helps, like, you know, everyone understand a little bit more. And there will be a recording of this, and we'll put it on our YouTube channel. If you're not part of our YouTube webinar channel, please join and subscribe, so you get a notification whenever we put a webinar up.
Can you see my book? Can you see my book?
Yeah.
Yeah. See that? See all these pages?
Yeah.
They're all the people that owe me beers and hamburgers. I've written them down. I've got you all. I've written you down. I know where you are. I have my book.
And all you got to do is give him a few more beers and he'll forget about it.
Michelle,
Okay,
there's a lady asking. There's a lady asking for the link to your Telegram group.
Yes, yeah, we have innovative education.
Dwayne, could you just pop the link in the
Hi, Charisse.
Somebody could pop the link in.
Hi, Richard. How are you going?
I am super well. I am almost dangerous. I'm so good.
I am hearing that. Thank you. And thank you to you and Michelle for such a beautiful webinar. Lots of information revealed. Thank you all.
No
I have
worries.
one little question though. Just for refresher, in order for us to make a little change on the exchange or make a little extra cash on the exchange, we will need to sell at a high price and buy at a lower price, hoping that the price is going to dip. So we're gonna buy the dip and then we're gonna sell when it rises again. Is that the way we are going about making money on the exchange?
Yeah, that's the simplest way to do it. If you some traders, and this is a mindset with trading, is that when you buy and when you sell, that's a done deal. That's the end of that trade, and your next trade is actually not linked to that trade. That's history. That becomes history. So when you look at your next trade, you buy at a certain price and you sell at a higher price. You're always selling at a higher price than what you do. Now, sometimes the crew that you own go down in value when you're doing that. But if your dollars earned is going up, it's irrelevant, because somewhere, if you do it over and over and over, somewhere along the line, the dip will occur. And if you're cashed up, you then can buy a lot on that dip and you'll make it back. So that sometimes you don't, every trade you do, you're not necessarily always increasing the amount of crew you own. But you should always be making money. Don't exchange if you're going to lose money. That's just crazy. Just sit it out. You know, like if the market is that flat, is truly that flat, that you can't make money, just sit the day out. You don't have to exchange every day. You know, now I see Pranoy's got his hand up. he will tell you how a bot works because he's sort of programmed how to do it. But you don't, if you're doing it yourself, you don't have to exchange every day.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
sometimes you just sit and wait. But what we don't want people to do, I guess, if you're trying to drive a price up, we don't want you to put a low price in and just sit on it until it gets there, because that encourages the price to go down.
Yeah.
But you do have to sometimes, when you're trading, look at every trade as a separate trade, and the two aren't linked. You don't link them together. You'll get yourself into trouble if you start linking them together too often, because sometimes you're going to buy at a higher price than what you sell. Like if you sell your crew and then straight away the thing jumps 5 points, it may never go back. It may never go back to that price. It might just sort of keep going. So you've got to then take that new price as your new resistance point, and that becomes your new trading price. And you just look for whatever price you buy it at, make sure you make 10% on it when you sell it. But if you try and put a link of every trade together, somewhere along the line you'll get into trouble, because it doesn't always work that you're always going to be able to wait for the dip. When there is a lot of volume on an exchange, then you can. When there's a lot of volume, because there's people buying and selling and moving all the time. But Unitex is not one of those exchanges. We don't have that volume, and we found out why tonight, because we've only got 26,000 members. So you're not going to create volume, because not everybody is trading every day all the time.
So guys, Panroy, do you want to, you had your hand up, would you like to say something again? I don't want anyone to miss out. No? Okay.
No,
I think we might call it then.
Okay then.
Thank you, everybody. It's
See you
been
later.
so wonderful having you guys here. Love it. And Richard and I really appreciate all the support. And please join our Telegram group if you are not there already.
And remember, I've got the book.
He's got the book. He'll remember everything.
Was a great webinar.
Thank you all. I'll get the recording up ASAP, probably tomorrow, because it's late in Australia now. So tomorrow.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Bye.